I'm recording the video. Right, I'm gonna start recording audio. He started.
So I'm just gonna intro it now. So bro, you see this mic level? Is this for the... Oh no, that's it.
Say that again. No, that's for the that's for the effects.
I just need my headphones to be a tiny bit lower.
What's your name again, Maria?
I think it is lower. Sorry?
Maria. What's your surname?
Maria Berlin.
Nice name. Right.
I think it's better. Yeah, it's better. I'd be able to hear myself.
Yo. So I can't even hear.
You can't hear yourself.
Not through the...
I can't
Oh, okay, maybe. Yeah, I didn't have the
now
Q
I
on.
can hear you.
Yeah, I didn't have the Q on. Yeah, okay, cool. You can hear it. You can hear, yeah?
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, I think it is.
So you can take this on.
Thank you very much.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm ready to start the intro.
Okay.
You recording, yeah?
Yeah.
Yo, so this is episode, I don't know, of Tracks and Chats. It could be episode 6, could be episode 10. It's probably episode 3. But anyway, we're joined today with Maria Berlin, straight from Berlin. Fully invaded today by Matt Jenner.
I'm leaving.
For the second week in a row. But but this week is fully welcome. So yeah, I'm joined today with Maria Berlin. We're going to be talking about all things fashion, all things art, you know what I'm saying, experiences,
Live.
you know what I'm saying, life. So obviously Maria, 9-time Cutie of the Year award winner in Paris, 3-time Jacket of the Year award winner, you know what I'm saying, shout out Tax Free. So yeah, I'm just going to get into some tracks. And you know what I mean?
Let's go.
So I'm just gonna do a little bit of music. But that's basically gonna be the vibe, innit? So it's just like,
chill.
yeah, just do your thing.
Chill.
What are you saying later on?
I'm not sure. Survival of the fittest.
Somehow. Madonna, I'm rapping. So we're gonna use this one?
I'm a savage, I'm an asshole, I'm a king. Shimmy out, shimmy out. You can tell your nigga he can meet me outside. You can make me sit on when I leave him outside. Ain't no other love like the one I know. I done been down so long, so. I done came down so hard, I slow. I done sleep, I have a holler real nigga.
It's what happens when you rip music from YouTube. It's basically music.
That's great.
But that's why everything is playing on the extra bits. Yeah.
Yes, the extra bits.
Trust me. Loyalty. switching sides, feel something wrong. You acting shifty, you don't vibe with me no more. I need loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Tell me who you're loyal to. Is it money, is it fame, is it weed, is it drink? Is it coming down with the loud pipes in the rain? Big chillin' only for the power in your name. Tell me who you're loyal to. Is it love for the streets when the lights get dark? Is it unconditional when the robbery don't start? Tell me when your loyalty is coming from the heart.
Tell me who you're loyal to. Do it start with your woman or your man? Do it end with your family and friends? Or you're loyal to yourself and defense? I said, tell me who you're loyal to. Is it anybody that you alive for? Anybody you would slide for? Anybody you would die for?
That's what I
Said I'm geek and I'm fired up. All I want tonight is just get higher.
Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. No switching sides, feel something wrong. You acting shifty, you don't vibe with me no more. I need loyalty, loyalty, loyalty. Loyalty, loyalty.
It's so hard to be humble. It's so hard to be. Another night, another day. Watch what she said. Watch what she said.
You know this one?
You're getting way too ahead of yourself. I think you better watch what you say about me. You're getting way too ahead of yourself. I think you better watch what you say about me. My business is my business, not your business now. If I didn't ask opinions, I don't need it now. You got a problem, there's only one way to solve it, so please don't give me the drama. Oh no, no. At the door you deliver, you find a friend you could keep it. Don't let me bring up the street, let me know, no. You're getting way too ahead of yourself. I think you better watch what you say about me. Oh, we gon' see. Better watch what you say about me. Oh, we gon' see. Are you okay? 'Cause you're not looking well.
You mix the stick
You
on this
must
one.
be sick to open your mouth.
Well, I'm Mariah Shawty and she wanna meet again. Don't complain if your girlfriend come home late. She wanna cock on the right seat. She wanna fuck him on my CD. Telling me the right thing. She wanna lay. Hey, Shawty wanna lay. When she's with me, she can't complain. Hey, Shawty wanna lay. She's so fun, she's so play.
Should have fly like a jet. Trying to recollect how it builds. The way she moves is still built. And I understand that the girls on the low key. No trees with my low keys. All in the cage. Yeah. All I wanna do is
Alright. Old ways, new women, gotta keep a balance. The girl of your dreams to me is probably not a challenge. I've been counted out so many times I couldn't count it. Funny how now my accountant is having trouble trying to count it. To the people that think that I owe you shit, payback's a bitch and you know that shit. Y'all niggas getting too old for this. Please don't think nobody notices. I've been up for way too many days. Y'all sleep enough for me anyway. Y'all don't be doing shit anyway. Y'all are not true to this anyway. OVO, East End, reps up. We might just get hit with the Rico. Everyone home for the summer, so let's not do nothing illegal. I gon' make 50 million and I give some millions to my people. They gon' go Tony Montana and cop them some shack at the free throws, but they're from the wave. fam. There's not much to say, fam. They told me to tell you you measure some wastemans and stay in your place, fam. My dad is from Memphis and I am the king. I should probably just move into Graceland. Madonna's a ting I know and I'm the king of pop. I'm building Neverland. How he hate me when I never met the man. Woo! We might just get hit with the Rick. Me Millie. Cause we in the field with them bird like we play for the Eagles. I'm on probation, so let me not talk what's illegal. Switch it up. Today I woke up with my drinker, she rich as a beetle. For my teachers that said I won't make it here, I spent a day what you make a year. I had to drop just to make it clear that I got it lot like Jamaican here. All these shoppers popping niggas, wildin' violence. Why we even gotta take it here? Why we even gotta play these games? Run up on me, catch a face, you here. The chasers, what you thought? I come through my blood like a poppin' no willy, no squilly, can't talk to the cop, that's illegal. I was like, no double crossing on my peoples. I take it into the table, split it with my niggas, equal, I'm back on that. Yeah, that was some bullshit. I'm talking that crush you, that fade you for quarter like Jordan, we back on that bullshit. We came up from never, we
Running on the road, he doing promo. You said keep our business on the low. I'm just trying to get you out the friend zone. Cause you look even better than the photos. I can't find your house, send me the info. Driving through the gated residential. Found out I was coming, sent your friends home. Keep on trying to hide it, but your friends know.
I only call you when it's hard. But the only time that I be by your side, I only love it when you touch me and I feel me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me, yeah. I only call you when it's hard. But the only time I ever call you. I only love it when you touch me and I feel me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me, babe.
I'ma let you know and keep it simple. Trying to keep it up don't seem so simple. I just fucked 2 bitches before I saw you. And you gon' have to do it at my tempo. Always try to send me off to rehab. Drugs started feeling like it's
Cool.
rehab.
Cue up this last song.
I'm just trying to live life for the moment. And all these motherfuckers wanna reload.
I only call you when it's hard.
There's no question.
The only time that I be by your side, I only love it when you touch me and I feel me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me, yeah. I only call you when it's hard. But the only time I ever call you mine, I only love it when you touch me and I feel me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me when I'm fucked up. That's a real me, babe.
Take you fool, you never knew too. You kinda fluid. I was getting on the wood, my cup full of mud. I came out the hood. Sometimes I guess they need a hug. I'ma get all my problems above. People be doing too much. Keep it real, she show you no love. You don't need no one magic for us. I've been grinding and found me a buzz. I've been searching for love and found less. It's so hard to start holding a grudge. Well, I dodge bitch your shit like a dash. My whole squad got their kid in the cut. Keep on track cause we need to break down. Pick and choose who the right one to trust. Pick and choose who the right one to trust. Keep it real, it's a lot of fake love. Niggas hate but they bitches in love. And the Billy I white like a dove. I took off it, this ain't means it was. Killer out, told her walk to the bus. I was up at the top when it cut. You can't tell me that she had a slut. Go take you fooling, you never knew too. You kinda fluid. I was getting on the wood, my cup full of mud. I came out the hood. Sometimes against they need a hug. I'ma get all my problems above. Hate when people be doing too much. Keep it real, show you no love. I don't need no one vouching for me. I be flossing every time on my teeth. Car push out, I keep losing the keys. Shit now box my closet full of C's. My shit wet LES AVDs. I got perp on my neck, not no beats. I get cash in my bank when I'm sleep. New blue face, who told Patty for leave. Maybe the center shopping spree on me. New agenda, don't do nothing free. And then one of my pawns on E. All my bitches got expensive weed. I still drink for my pain to get eased. I still talk to the Lord on my knees. Helping me take care of all of my needs. Then we take out the top for a breeze. Who take you fooling? We not new to it. We can't afford. I was getting on the wood. My cup full of mud. I came out the hood. Sometimes against the need a hug. I'ma get all my problems above. Hate when people be doing too much. Keep it real, it's show you no love.
So we are back. Maria, can you hear me in your headphones?
I think so.
Can you hear me? Okay, so it's definitely
Yes.
we're definitely online. That's for sure, because I can see
Back
the
at it
levels
again.
moving. But we can sit down. We can sit down. So Maria, it's lovely to have you.
Thank you for
Lovely to have you on the show. Literally shouted you a couple of days ago.
Yes.
You came through, so that's love. Like there's people about me trying to get on the show for months. So
Hey,
I
man, you're always
definitely-
gonna support.
you know what I'm saying? I definitely respect that, man. But so today, yeah, we're just gonna talk about like really. I just find you like quite interesting. Like, from
That's
the
so
time
nice.
I met you, like it was always an interesting experience. Kind of, I think I just met you like on the side of the road or something, like
Probably.
in Shoreditch or
Always on the streets.
maybe like it was at an
Always
event.
on the
Yeah,
streets.
and it was just like not on the
That's
side
when
of
you
the
meet
road, like she's like
people.
on Fox or something. Like she was just like doing her thing.
I just might be.
You know
I
what I mean?
love being out and about. That's
feel
when you
you.
meet people, and that's like you never know who's walking the streets.
That's true. That is
You never
true.
know.
That is true. But yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of like get to know more about you really, and kind of like understand kind of like your journey into the scene. I know like I met you in London, but you've been in like Paris for a bit. I think
Based in Paris.
yeah, based in
now.
Paris, from Berlin. So just the whole kind of like international thing you got going on there. So I just wanted to kind of understand more about that journey, and then also kind of share anything you want to share like with the people, anything that you want to do that you think might inspire the people, inspire the kids. You know what I'm saying? It's an
Well-
open forum right now. So
First things first,
Yeah.
support your friends.
facts.
First things first, and support small artists, small creatives, small designers. I think that's probably the first thing I would like to
Mhm.
say. So I am actually wearing my friends. I'm wearing a jacket by Tax3 official on Instagram. And then I'm wearing a t-shirt by Giovanni. He's based in the States.
Nice.
Giovanni Clothing. And my jeans are by Averix, which
Nice.
a lot of people will know, but I will credit Franklin, King of Trainers,
Shout out Frank.
for the revival, honestly, of Averix in the UK. I genuinely think he is probably almost solely responsible for that, and I admire that. So I think, yeah, you should always support your friends, support their little clothing businesses, etc. Because if you can spend, I don't even know, £50, £100 on a Hugo Boss t-shirt, then surely you can spend the same money on your friends' clothing lines.
Mm-mm.
And that's probably made with a lot more love and less industry, you know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Now, real talk. Shout out Tax3. I met what's his name again? JD. JB. I met JB at Boohoo Man.
Oh,
Yeah, the Boohoo Man party
Okay,
a few
nice.
weeks ago, and then I saw him again at the Adidas party.
he's lovely.
Yeah, no, he's cool. He's cool. Shout out Giovanni. I don't know who that is. The t-shirt's dope though.
Lovely
I
as
like
well.
it.
I met his manager / representative. She's based in London.
Mm.
She's dope. And then I met him, and he's super lovely as well. Very approachable, very down to earth. I think that's the little American side.
Mm. What was that,
yeah,
Giovanni?
Giovanni,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. And
Giovanni's
obviously, shout out
clothing.
Franklin every time. You know, what I'm saying
Shout
Averex.
out Franklin.
Franklin
every
is
time.
one of the one person in the industry that I can say is genuine. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Like pure heart. If he can help you, he'll help you type of thing. Even if you're a stranger, even if he sees you, if you don't even have to really see you doing anything. If you ask for the help, he'll give you the help. What you do with the help at that point is up to you. You know what I'm saying? So shout out Frank every time. Shout out Kish Cash as well, actually, because he's like that. He's like that as well. You know what I'm saying? But we're not talking about Franklin or Kish Cash here. We're talking about Maria Berlin. So, Maria, tell us about yourself.
Ooh.
The floor is yours. The pressuring question.
Pressure. What can I say? I'm a photographer, and I guess I'm a creative, but I think I'm a photographer above all. I like capturing moments, and I like capturing images. And my whole childhood, we kind of moved around because of my parents' work, and I think that might have probably influenced my love for photography. So I got my first camera, I think, when I was 12, and I think I've had a camera on me ever since. I've got 2 on me now, I think. So yeah, and then with the love for photography, I guess, came the love for fashion. Because I was moving so much, I would always see, for example, in Bolivia, the indigenous clothing, and then you go to a different country like Thailand, and they have their indigenous clothing, and it's very different, but it's all like influenced by the materials that they have there and the craftsmanship that they have there, and of course their history, which I think is really interesting. So I guess that's how I slipped into fashion. I was actually a fan, like fan of fashion from very, very young, and I remember like buying all the magazines that I could afford, and I would always make sure to get the March Vogue issue, which, to be honest, Vogue is kind of outdated nowadays. There's a lot more magazines that are a lot more groundbreaking than Vogue nowadays, so we'll see where that goes. But yeah, no, I think that's probably how I then slipped into fashion. And then I did my A-levels actually in the UK at a very strange school, and the art teacher there, I think he just didn't understand my vision, because he was a painter, so he did like oil painting, acrylics, and I was more like very abstract art, photography, collages. I did a project with glue and ink and things like this. So he gave me a D as my final grade for art. And in the UK, for anyone that doesn't know, you basically have like a certain entry requirement. You have to have like a certain grade in order for them to basically, in order for you to even apply, you have to have a certain grade. And I really wanted to do fashion design, but he would not budge on my D. So a week before the final deadline, I called my mom. I was like, well, there's no way they're even going to look at my portfolio if I do apply. So what am I going to do? And she was like, oh, well, you're strong in languages, so why don't you do that? And I was like, yeah, I think languages kind of goes hand in hand with fashion. And I think it's very important to be able to speak different languages.
What languages can you speak?
Ooh, at the moment, Spanish, German, French, and English fluently.
Nice.
I can write and read in Arabic. I can't speak it fluently yet, so I don't count it. And then I'm learning Turkish at the moment.
Nice.
So.
Nice.
But I'm trying to add to that. I'd like to learn Japanese.
Nice.
I love Japanese. Love their culture, their cuisine, their like fashion understanding. I think is very, very different. And then I would love to learn Russian, because I think the history of Russia as a country and also their fashion is very interesting. So
I'm listening. I'm
that's
just
it for
taking
now.
notes.
Go for
But I'm still listening. It's a very
Go for
interesting
it.
story.
So where was I? I have short-term memory loss.
You said,
I was talking about my university.
Yeah, your mom said you should do languages.
Oh yeah,
and
so
stuff like that.
I ended up changing my whole entire what do you call it again? Personal statements. In the UK, you have to write a personal statement alongside with submitting your grades. So I had to rewrite my personal statement a week before the deadline. For anyone that has done, what is it called, UCAS or whatever?
UCAS,
Which
yeah.
basically it's like how you get into university. For anyone that's done that knows that a week before is not very good. And also that was the first time I had education in English. So writing my personal statement was such a pain because all my professors would be like, oh, you write how you speak. And I'm like, yeah, what's wrong with that? They're like, no, it needs to be more formal. So I would just write whatever I needed to write, go on almost every word and type in synonym, which basically means a different word for the word that you're using, just to make it sound smarter. And then I actually got into a couple different universities, one of them being Warwick University. And the only reason I did go to that university is because they allowed me to do a year abroad in my third year, and they allowed me to split that year abroad. So I split that year abroad. I went to Puerto Rico for the first half of it, and then I went to Australia for the second half of it. So one side of the world, then the other side of the world. Finished that, moved back to Berlin. Fast forward, COVID came. I could not sit still. So I was like, while everyone's sitting at home complaining about COVID, why don't I pack my bags and move somewhere?
Facts.
So the most reasonable thing was from Berlin to go anywhere where in case COVID got way worse, I could get a train back. Like I wouldn't have to get a plane or whatever. And because I'd always been interested in France, fashion, and etc., I was like, maybe I'll move to Paris. So I started packing my bags. And then I found this university. Applications were closed. Found this university, and they had a course in fashion media. I think I actually applied for a different course and then I changed. But I called them up and I said, hey, I would love to study at your university. And they were like, oh, we have one slot open. So I sent my application that day, continued packing. And then I was on my last suitcase, and I called my mom. And I was like, what if I don't get into the uni? She was like, oh, screw it. You're moving to Paris. So I said, screw it. I'm moving to Paris. Kept packing my bag. The day before my train to Paris, I got into the university.
Nice.
So I then started fashion media. At first it was remote, which was difficult, but for me it was really good because the course was being taught in English. So I assumed there would be a lot of English-speaking students, and I didn't go to Paris to speak English. So for me, it was kind of great because I would do my lessons in English on the laptop, and then I would literally just roam the streets because almost nobody was out there and try and learn French. So I would go to the supermarket, help them, tell them to help me like get the words, etc. And then I think like 6 months, 7 months later, I was actually kind of okay at French. And the French, they love speaking French to you as opposed to English, so that kind of helped me. So I kind of utilized that French arrogance, if we can call it that, which was great for me, honestly. So yeah, and then I finished my course, and then one of my professors, who I love, he taught us the photography course. He called me, actually he texted me, and he was like, Maria, I need to speak to you. And I was like, oh God, what did I do? And so we got on a call, and he was like, oh, Maria, I'm working on this project. And I said, I'm in. He said, you don't even know what it's about. I said, I'm in. Anything you're involved in, I'm in. Because he's like a bit, in the best way, he's a bit like crazy like me. Loves experimenting, loves photography to death, etc. He's Italian, Marco, love him. And so he explained the project to me. It was a fashion magazine that him and his business partner were founding, Alexandra. And so ever since then, so they were looking for someone that would cover kind of the young designers, the up and coming, the bit edgy youth culture, I guess. So yeah, so I jumped on the team. It was the three of us at first. And
what stage of your career is this? So this is
probably the beginning. I mean, I've always been doing photography and I was always doing shoots, but this was the beginning of my career in fashion.
Okay.
Specifically.
Okay.
And then ever since then, I've been working with them and actually attending Fashion Week, which was funny because at the beginning, Fashion Week invites are kind of limited for some reason. It's a little bit strange, but okay. So this was when I was actually still at uni. The first fashion show I attended was Balmain, and I was absolutely not invited.
That's Balmain for you UK
Balmain.
listeners.
And I was absolutely not invited, but I was there. So yeah, and a week before the Fashion Week, I was in my classroom with everyone, and I turned around. I think it was the photography class. That's probably why I was at the front. And I turned around and I said, "Who wants to smuggle into Fashion Week with me?" And everyone looked at me like, "The hell?" And so one girl actually said, she said, "Maria, that's impossible. Don't be ridiculous." And I said, "Well, you do you, I do me." So there was a Balmain festival. Maybe I shouldn't out people. Okay, I'll say it in a without name situation.
Be diplomatic.
So there was a Balmain fashion festival, and I got myself some wristbands that were for the workers that work there. And so the next day, my friend was going backstage to shoot, and he was like, "Okay, I'll try and get you in." So we pulled up, and there was a girl from my university working at the door. If it was me working at the door, I would have let you walk right through. But, you know. So I looked at her, and she was like, "Are you invited?" I said, "Absolutely not." She said, "Well, I absolutely cannot let you in." And my friend looked back at me, and I was like, "Don't worry about it, baby. See you inside." So he went ahead. I kind of lingered, like, not right next to the entrance, like a bit further, and I was just kind of observing where the people were going in that were invited, where the workers were going in. Some people had tickets to like attend the actual festival as opposed to the show, but the show was still on the same ground. And there was two people there. One of them was Keenan, a photographer, and they seemed to be struggling with getting in. So I just approached them. I talked to anyone. I just approached them, and I was like, "Oh, are you having issues getting in?" And they were like, "Yeah, I don't know. Something's not working." I said, "Well, I have these bracelets. So I'm happy to give you two of them. I just think I should like test it first so we don't all three go and it's like, oh, no. So we exchanged numbers. I gave them the bracelets. I walked through where I saw the people with tickets and stuff going in, and the guy at the concierge, I don't know what you call them, host, he looked at me and I was like, "Oh no, I'm working," and showed him the bracelet. And he was like, "Oh, sorry," and just shooed me in. I was like, "Okay, great." So I texted Keenan. I was like, I'm in. You go to this guy, say this, etc. So we met back inside, and he said, "I know where the backstage is." And I said, "Yes, you do." So we head backstage, and then there's this big Russian security guy outside the hair and makeup door. And we looked at him, showed him the bracelets, and he's like, "Red badge only." We were like, okay. So we stood off to the side. We were just contemplating, and this guy comes outside, and he's smoking a cigarette. He chats to us. I talked to him about like, "Oh, what would you give for like, what tips would you give as like a established photographer to someone that's going into the fashion industry?" Because I wasn't working for the magazine yet. And he just gave us some tips. We had a small chat. He put out his cigarette. He said, "Come with me." I said, "Okay, wherever you're going, I'm going." So we walked past the Russian guy, like a different entrance, walk up some stairs, go through some doors, walk up some stairs, go through some doors, and all of a sudden I'm backstage where the lineup is for the fashion show. And he turned around, he said, "You're welcome." I said, "Thank you, sir."
And that was your first fashion.
Yep.
Your first fashion show.
Yep.
And
Saw Naomi Campbell.
Nice. You know what I mean?
Cat.
So you heard it here first. Hard work, perseverance, and
audacity.
Don't give a fuck attitude.
Audacity always pays off. If you don't ask, you don't get. If you don't try, you don't fail. If you don't fail, you don't get up.
That is facts. And that's something that I've noticed in London as well. Is like I'm in a group of people where we pretty much like, I mean, like we're invited to a lot of events, but we gate crash a lot of events too. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you pull up there, and
Who's making the rules anyway?
exactly other people. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? So yeah, no, that's cool. That's dope. Like, that's a dope first story. Like Paris Fashion Week, you're more audacious than me because as soon as I leave London, all of my audacity goes out the window because I don't want no international problems. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no,
But
I think you
maybe
should
I should
use
try
that to
that.
your advantage.
yeah, maybe I should try that. I
You
always
should
think that because like I'm a
absolutely use
big
that to
like
your
guy, I
advantage.
always feel like
No,
people
you have
are.
the accent.
That is true.
You
But I
have
feel
the
like
accent.
sometimes people are kind of like not gunning for you, but it's like if something pops off, like it's me. They're gonna like look for.
You'll be
first
gone
and
by
type
then.
of thing. That is true. Maybe I'm
Swift
thinking about it
exit.
too much. I should.
Absolutely, you should,
I should definitely
absolutely,
do that. Maybe I should jump on a
use-
train on Monday
absolutely,
and go to Paris.
absolutely. You should definitely like to anyone listening. If you have any sort of accent and you go to a different country, you can be anyone. They don't know you. You can be anyone. You could be a famous London rapper. You can be a famous London designer. Like, as long as you act the part, you're fine. And even if they don't let you in, okay, that's fine. Move on. Next
For real.
smuggling in.
For real. That is also true. And I think that's why it works a lot for. I think when you go there with the attitude of like, if I don't get in, like I don't care. Like more times that I've wanted to get into a place, I haven't gotten in. It's usually when like either I don't want to get in or I'm like fuck it. That's when you'll get in. I don't know if it's like an energy thing or something like they can kind of feel it. It's like the person at the door. They don't want to risk not letting you in case you're somebody. You know what I mean? They don't necessarily know.
In Paris, to be honest, they don't really care. Security there is taking their job way too serious. Way too serious. But because of that, that kind of like puts fuel to my fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're
yeah.
taking yourself too serious, so I'm gonna do the same.
Yeah. No,
So
facts.
I think audacity sometimes pays off, honestly.
So the magazine, that's where you work now.
Yes, the Edge magazine.
The Edge magazine, yeah. And you've been there for how long?
I've been there since the beginning. 2 years, 2 years
2
and a
years,
bit.
yeah.
But I was there before there was a magazine,
yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it was like being conceptualized,
yeah.
the team was being assembled. I was being told what they kind of wanted for me, what
Yeah.
the vision was for the magazine,
Yeah.
which is insane because I used to buy magazines. And now I'm not just working for a fashion magazine, but I was there before the
Yeah.
creation of it,
Yeah.
which I think is like amazing.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm really happy. The team is amazing, and they kind of let me do what I want, which may be like because obviously they're older than me. Maybe they understand what I can bring to
Yeah.
the table, and maybe I don't understand that yet.
Yeah.
But I do very much appreciate that they kind of let me do what I'd like to do. I think that's very, very important for creatives. Very, very important for
Yeah.
you to be able to run freely, experiment, and just do what you want. Because I think if not, you're very limited in your artistic expression. And I think that would be a shame.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. You mentioned you mentioned Vogue being outdated. You said there's a lot more groundbreaking kind of magazines now. I would agree with that. I would say there's a lot of people kind of doing their
Vogue
thing.
is like 50% ads.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. Like, what to you, like, what makes Vogue outdated, and what to you makes a good magazine?
What makes Vogue outdated? I would say everything. But then I don't want to be rude. I don't
It's too
let me
late
word
now.
this- I know. And I definitely stand
eviscerated.
behind what I say, right? And I absolutely think Vogue is outdated. Because the only reason Vogue is because it's been around for forever. That is the only reason. That's the only reason I used to buy it. And I still bought it when I went to Paris. I was like, oh my god, I can get my March Paris, like French Vogue, right? But I'm buying it. and I'm flicking through it. The first 10 pages is ads, and then it's the same shoots you would have had 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and it's the same brands. It's the same brands. So it's the Valentino, the Gucci, the Louis Vuitton, Hermes, all the stuff everyone knows. So for me, if I'm reading a magazine, I want you to inspire me, and I want you to show me something new. I want you to put me onto new brands, new creatives, new art, new architects, all of this stuff. And for me, it's just like, okay, oh, it's Chanel again. What a surprise. So I think that's quite outdated about it. I mean, it's 2023, and we've moved on in a way. Fashion is so big now, not only because of the social media accessibility, but also because I think our generation is kind of like breaking out of the mold. Like, I will walk into a shop, see a t-shirt or a dress, and be like, I can do that myself, and I can do it better, and with better fabrics and more ethically produced. So we now go and do that, right? Which is great. Like this radio show, right? But like 20 years ago, it was only the people that were on the official radio, and it's still the same people, and they're still talking about the same stuff. So I just feel like,
do you feel like Vogue has its audience, or
absolutely,
it's just
but I
completely
think
outdated?
it's just it's because it's Vogue, and that's it. I don't think there's any other reason. It's because your mom used to read it, your grandma used to read it, and I think that is literally the sole reason. I mean, like, definitely big ups to Anna Wintour, because she did come into Vogue and change the whole thing around and make it more youthful and stuff. But then nothing's changed since. So I just feel like, yes, you did that, but why don't you keep doing that? And I think that's kind of, and of course there's also this like myth with her like persona that she posts. She's supposed to be this cold woman, etc., which I actually disagree with. She's actually quite friendly. She's actually very friendly. But yeah, I just wish she did a bit more groundbreaking stuff with Vogue nowadays, because they do have that status, and they're always gonna keep that status, I think, because they're such an old magazine. So I think it would just be nice to inspire the youth a bit more than with Chanel, Hermes, and Louis Vuitton.
I've never actually read Vogue. My sister was in Vogue though. She got shot for that. For I think it was.
Did they pay her?
It was Givenchy. Yeah, they definitely paid her. She wouldn't have done it like otherwise. I can. That much I know.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
good.
But so when I said about Vogue having an audience, I meant it more from the perspective of, so you said that you like to kind of like be put onto new stuff, put onto like new brands, like kind of more, so magazines that are more kind of culturally relevant. Would you say that, let's say like the core audience for Vogue, what culture would you imagine that they would like? What kind of person would you say would
White people in
religiously
their 40s.
read Vogue? Okay.
That's what I think.
Why what are they getting from it that young people today are not getting from it?
I you know what? I think, how do you, habit? I think it's like, yeah, I think it's like, that's what they know. So that's what they feel comfortable with, right? And that's what I was trying to say with our generation's kind of breaking out of the mold. Because we don't seek comfort in the same way that the generation above us did, if that makes sense. We like look for much more new stuff, experimentation, etc., etc. So I think that the people that read Vogue have probably been in the industry about 10 years, being the fashion industry, and that's what they're used to. And that's it. I really think that's it. Because if you get a Vogue magazine now and read through it, and you get a Vogue magazine next month and read through it, it's basically the same, unfortunately.
Okay, that's
So I
interesting.
just think it's habit.
That's interesting.
Honestly.
Yeah. I mean, you make a fair point. Like you said, especially in this day and age, there's so many resources available to everybody to kind of do whatever they want. So it's almost like you're spoke for choice in terms of if this magazine doesn't give you exactly what you want, there'll be another one. It's kind of like there's like a factory of ideas, which I think is dope.
I think it's great.
I think it's proper dope.
And we have way more niches now that are being supported.
Yeah.
So there's like a magazine for women, for fashion, for art, for lifestyle, graffiti, all of that stuff, and way more choice than before. Before
What kind of stuff does the Edge specialize in?
we specialize in several things. So the whole idea of the Edge was to bring the edge to fashion. So we do fashion, of course, but we also do lifestyle, we also do art. So we kind of try and not be like the classical fashion magazines, in terms that we don't want to just do fashion because it does get boring after a while. And fashion is influenced by lifestyle, it's influenced by art, it's influenced by architecture, and vice versa. So that's what we kind of try and focus on. Maybe we try and focus on not focusing. How about that?
Okay.
So we try and cover a little bit of everything, which I think is really interesting. I think it's a really, I thought it was a great idea once they explained the idea to me. I was like, okay, now I understand why you called me, because I think it's very important to cover different topics tied to fashion within a fashion magazine, and not just clothes, and not just overpriced clothes.
So
you
more
can afford that anyway.
So more kind of cultural,
Exactly.
the cultural outskirts of fashion.
Exactly.
Basically. Okay, I like that. So how would you kind of describe your role to somebody who's not in the industry at all? They wouldn't know where to start in terms of working at a magazine or even the creative industry as a whole. How would you describe your role to them?
So my official title is Youth Platform Director,
Sick.
which I think summarizes my role pretty well. So basically, I try and give a platform to the youth, and I definitely try to focus on things that others don't focus on. I really like that. I really like kind of like pushing it a little bit. So what is my role? My role is finding things that other people don't find, or things that other people would like to find but haven't found yet.
Okay.
So I kind of write about anything and everyone that inspires me, which I think is nice. So it
So
could
do
be
you
music.
produce like full editorial? So you shoot and write?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. So my last print work, what came out in print, was a photo essay on someone. His name is T-Max, wonderful photographer. And so basically, I met him through someone else who's also wonderful, Fusion. He runs BMT, Black Man Time, which focuses on black business, black fashion, honestly everything. It's a great platform. But basically, Fusion introduced me to T-Max. They used to work together back in the day. They used to have a show on MTV. And basically, they used to go to the States and photograph artists and interview them. And T-Max was the photography side of it, so which is why I think I connected with him. And he used to shoot Biggie, Nas, The Brat, people like that. And the day of the interview / photo shoot with him, I actually went to the film store and they didn't have any color film. So I was like, ooh, okay, well, I love shooting in black and white, but it wasn't the plan. So I'm just gonna shoot in black and white. And then I did shoot in black and white. And when he allowed us to print some of the images that he had taken back in the day. And funnily enough, those were shot on film in black and white. So it all really came full circle, which I love. So, and of course he's established, but I think for the younger generation, he's not as bait, let's say.
Who's
you
this?
know?
The T
T
T
Max.
Max. Okay.
So, yeah, I loved that shoot. I loved that shoot. That's probably one of my favorite projects. Just the way it worked out with the black and white film photography, I think was really nice. And he's just a nice person, great person. So, yeah.
So for like a young, let's say a young kid who wanted to get into, let's say, working at a magazine, or let's say the creative industry in general.
You know, it's so funny.
Yeah.
After I left uni,
Yeah.
I was applying to Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, Louboutin, everyone, while being absolutely aware that I was not trying to be just another hamster in the wheel, because the wheel's still gonna spin because they have 1,000 hamsters. So, and I was still applying because I felt that that was what you needed to be successful in the fashion industry. And I actually think people should do the opposite. I think you should go up to a tiny brand or a tiny magazine or a tiny radio station and just say, yo, I'm here, I have ideas, let me help out. And just start that way. And then you can understand how it works, the working environment, you like the working environment, you not like the working environment, because that kind of is like no strings attached if you're kind of like helping out, doing a shoot there, doing an article there, sewing some stuff here and there, and then you kind of just automatically will find your path. And you also have much more of an understanding of what you're good at and what you're not good at, because what I've been able to understand from different friends that did internships or jobs at these big fashion houses is you're basically a nobody. You're literally basically a nobody. You're just running around grabbing papers, running around grabbing clothes, taking samples from here to there, which for some people is super interesting. But are they profiting more or are you profiting more? And where is that going to lead you? And I think if you did the same thing for a smaller brand, you would have way more insight into the workings of a brand, and you help them just as much as they help you. So if I was me 2 years ago, I definitely would not have applied to Hermes, Chanel, Louboutin, and the likes, and I would have just straight gone for small independent businesses, independent store, independent radio station, anything like that, and then just go from there. Definitely just push your way through.
Yeah.
Be unapologetic with what you create and have confidence. And if you don't have confidence, fake it till you make it.
How would you say somebody could build in their confidence? Because for me, it's always like the more you do, the more confident
I think
you get.
I'm probably the worst at giving advice for this.
Okay.
Because I might not have confidence, but I have absolutely no shame. I have absolutely no shame. I have a very deep understanding of not giving a F. So
I got that vibe from you. Like, I'll be real. That was one of the things. I was talking. I can't remember who I was with the other day. But did you meet? Is it Fred? Is it Freddie?
Yeah.
Freddie Water. Yeah.
Not Freddie.
So I think I was talking to you
Sexy
about
yesterday.
Freddie. Talking to Freddie about you, and I was like, yeah, bro, I met this girl like a couple years ago in Shoreditch, and her energy was just like, I didn't know the word. Like, I didn't know the word to really describe it. Yeah, but it was. I think at the time I said, yeah, she's just kind of like ready to go at all times, in it, that type of shit. And yeah, you saying like having no shame, like that is basically what it is. It was just like, yeah, she'll just do whatever. Like she's just down for whatever, like type of shit. And that energy, like I value that a lot, because I'm the type of person who's like always ready to go. I don't like when people are always trying to kind of like if like I'm in an RN in it. So I really value that a lot in you. So that's why when I saw you that day, that's why I came up to you that straight, because
No, I appreciate that.
I remembered the energy. You know what I'm saying, and I hadn't seen you at that point for like what 3 years.
Yep. Before COVID.
But I recognized the energy. You know what I'm saying? It was infectious. So yeah, no, I think that's good advice, man. I think like sometimes you just gotta switch off your brain and just kind of say fuck it. And like you said at the beginning, so if you don't get in, you know what I mean, that's cool.
It is what it is at the end
But
of the
you gotta
day.
try. You know what I'm saying? I always say to people, like, I'm gonna ask. If you like, you can say no, but
Amen.
I'm gonna ask every
you don't
time.
ask, you don't get.
Facts. That is facts. That
I
is
think I definitely have a bit of an advantage in saying, "Oh, have no shame," etc., etc., because I moved around my whole life, so I was taken out of environments and put back into different environments, taken out of environment, put back into environment. So my environment was constantly changing. So I had to be very strong in who I am. So I think I have a bit of an advantage. But for anyone that didn't grow up like me, and doesn't have confidence, I would just say, I very much have the belief, like, if you don't like me, you don't like me. There's nothing I can do about that. So, and also, why would I care? I think that's so important for people to understand. If someone's like, I have a friend, his name's Carl, very, very good friend of mine. And we went to school together in Cuba. And I came to school on the first day and I was wearing a handbag because in Berlin, people would just wear handbags. I went to like a predominantly Latino school, so the girls would wear heels, handbags, crop tops. Bear in mind, we were like 14 at the time and we still wore heels, crop tops, and handbags. But a couple of years later, he came up to me and he was like, "Oh, you know, Maria, when I first met you, I thought you were a bitch." And I was like, you know what? That's probably really good. That's probably great for me. Because that means that people that will judge a book by its cover, aka thinking I'm not a nice person, won't even approach me, and I don't need those people around me. So if you judge a book by its cover, you know, then you're like, that's your problem, that's not my problem. Whereas he had an impression of me, but didn't let that get in the way of getting to know me and forming a friendship. And we are still friends, and it's been like, what, 15 years? So I think it's also that. I think just don't, if someone's like, oh, you're this and that, you're this and that, like, why would they know? That's their impression of you given their environmental factors and their influences. That has nothing to do with you. And people change, opinions change, people grow. Maybe you're a horrible person, but you can still become a great person. And I think that's also important. Like, humans are just humans at the end of the day.
Facts.
And I think you never know what's going on in people's lives, so
Facts.
you should just be nice to everyone. And also, you never know who you meet. Like the guy I was talking about earlier, Keenan, that got me in back. Well, he didn't get me in backstage, but you know, we got each other in backstage. He's a very, very good photographer, and he's really, really nice, and we formed a friendship out of that. And it was because I approached him because he was like not being able to get in, and now we're good friends. And I've made loads of friendships like that, of just like randomly approaching people, being like, oh, I like your trousers, or who are you? Anything. You know? There's also people like yesterday.
Shout out Keenan.
Shout out Keenan. Yesterday we were at this event, and there was we were walking in. There was this guy in front of us with his two guy friends, and he was giving them like a bracelet, and he was like, oh, you can get free drinks with that. And I literally told him, I was like, I would love a free drink. And he just looked at me and gave me a stinky face. Okay. You don't ask, you don't get. I said that to him. I said, you don't ask, you don't get. And then he left. You don't ask, you don't get. Same as like, I mean, okay, whatever. You know, the event was crap anyway. We were at the Adidas event.
I was gonna see if she was gonna put it on blast.
We were outside.
Yeah.
And there were people kind of like lingering by the fence.
Yeah.
And I was watching them, and I was like, why are they lingering by the fence? Are they just talking to their friend, or are they having struggles getting in? And so I walked up to them. I said, are you trying to get in? They said yes. I said, security's not watching right now. Do it now. Jumped the fence, got in. They were like, thank you so much. I was like, it should be normal. Why do I have the right to be here and you don't? What makes me above you? You know? And they were very thankful, which I understand because it's not normal here. But me personally, I think it should be normal. And like Adidas, you can ban me from any of your future events.
Obviously, I don't know if my platform is that big yet, so you might be alright. You know what I mean?
It's alright. It is what it is. If they don't want me there, they don't want me there. It's fine. I'll make my own Adidas.
No, facts. Like, I'll be real. Like I can't lie. Like I
but
think,
you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because even last couple of, let's say, weeks, it was just
Fashion week.
Yeah, it was fashion week. So, you kind of just take a step back and kind of look at the situation. And I'm like, why am I like stressing myself to go to all these events, like type of shit? Like I mean, respectfully, like I'm gracing you with my presence. You know what I mean? Like respectfully. So it's one of those things. I always like, listen, man, I might as well do my own shit. Like, why am I out here stressing trying to get into someone else's shit? It's like it seems like they don't even want me there, like that type of shit. You know what I mean? Obviously, when I'm there, it's enjoyable and stuff like that. Exactly. So I think it's just important to kind of, because like what you said, this like who kind of like died and made you king, but at the same time, the thing that I can't really hate on is people doing their thing. You know what I mean?
Amen.
And then creating something that I want to go to. You know what I mean? So the only way I can really counteract that is to do my own thing as well.
Yeah.
And we can both have a thing, and if I can't get into your thing, my thing is there, and if you can't get into their thing, my thing is there, and vice versa. So I definitely agree with that sentiment. I think London is like mad cliquey. That's the thing, especially in the fashion industry.
But it's not as cliquey as Paris. I will say that.
Okay, fair.
I will say that. I don't have friends in Paris, but I don't mind because I would rather have high quality friends than low quality friends. So people in Paris are very very cliquey and very not exclusive as in like excluding you, but like in a weird way. Like I just see behavior that I don't agree with, and if I don't agree with your behavior, I don't need to be around you, because then that's gonna reflect on me, and then person X on the outside is gonna be like, oh, she's probably the same, and I'm not.
Yeah, fair.
So I don't need to associate myself with that.
Yeah.
So, and I think Paris is very, very cliquey for no reason. It's kind of strange. It's also a shame, I think, because obviously worldwide Paris is known as the capital of fashion, blah 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 blah. But where are the young brands? It's crazy.
What country would you say, like, what major city would you say is the best for kind of like new up and coming shit, or let's say culturally in general?
I don't think that's answerable.
Well, what would you say each major city is known for?
What's a major
like,
city
you
to
go?
you?
So let's say like London, Paris, Milan, like, or wherever else that you think is the spot. Okay, but let me ask you that question. Where in the world do you think are the spots?
I've heard a lot about small brands in Ghana being on the rise.
Nice.
Same with Nigeria.
Yeah.
Which I think is amazing. Same with Bali, Indonesia. I went to Indonesia on my own.
Nice.
In 2016. And I met some young photographers, and they were just out there doing their thing. Way ahead of the time. They were doing things we had no idea of here in the UK, in Berlin, in Paris. They were way ahead. They were making their little media companies. They were doing event management. They were putting stuff on for the youth. They did photo walks, which that's how I kind of met them. I used to organize some photo walks in Melbourne, Australia.
What is that?
A photo walk?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, let me give you the backstory. So then we do 2 in 1. I had a friend, his name is Azam, in Melbourne, and my birthday was coming up, and I was like, I should go somewhere. So the cheapest ticket I could find was a flight to Bali with a 10-hour layover in Brunei. And I had never heard of Brunei, didn't know what Brunei was. Turns out there's the oldest water city in the world there. So did my layover in Brunei, saw almost all of Brunei, to be honest, in 10 hours. So if you ever get to do a layover in Brunei, 10 hours is absolutely enough. Went to Bali. First day was just like walking around, whatever. And I was like, Azam, do you have any like recommendations? Because he's Malaysian. And he was like, no, but I can connect you with a friend, and he's actually organizing a photo walk. I was like, oh, okay. So I messaged him and said, hey, I don't know anyone in Bali. I heard you're doing a photo walk. When and where is it? So basically, you meet at point A. We happened to meet at 4 o'clock in the morning near a market in Bali. So I came at like 3:30 and there was nobody. Nobody. I was like, oh God, is this the right place? Did I get the information wrong? Let me just wait. So after a while, these photographers turned up, people with cameras, people with video cameras, some people that were trying to be models, etc., etc. So basically a photo walk, you kind of just put the word out there and say, hey, we're doing a photo walk, we're meeting here. And then anyone that wants can pull up, which I think is great. And basically what you do is you start from point A, which was our meeting point, and then you walk through kind of together-ish a certain route to get to a final point, which then is point C. So that's where the photo walk comes in.
Yeah.
And as you make your journey, you see things. So people are like shooting things, some people stop, some people are like, oh, can you model real quick? Can we do that? Can we try this? So it just allows young photographers to be experimental, also get advice from a seasoned photographer, which is most likely the person organizing it, or when I was organizing it, I wasn't a seasoned photographer, so I had like a guest host, and he was like in the industry, very, very successful, and they can give you tips, they help you even with your camera settings. You can come and have no clue about cameras, and you can happily pull out and be like, hey, bought this camera, don't know what to do with it, can you show me?
Yeah.
Which I think is really nice. So it's kind of like,
that's dope.
Yeah, it's kind of like a creative sharing walk.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, I
that's
thought
dope.
it was
We should
great.
definitely do more of that.
And I made friends in Bali.
Yeah,
So for the next 2 weeks, I had
So
bare
would you
friends.
recommend like solo travel?
Amen. All the time. All the time.
Anywhere.
Anytime.
Anytime.
If you have £50 to spend on an event, you can literally take in America Greyhound, or in Europe a Flixbus, and just go anywhere. I went to Amsterdam by myself for my birthday, and my friend was like, oh, I'm coming. No, you're not. I'm gonna go. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone.
What
Because
did you
no
got
one
like a
else is
coach?
gonna do that. I got a train because my friend had a plug, so I got the train for free.
Nice.
It was like a birthday gift.
Yeah. Okay.
It was really nice, actually. And I went by myself. I stayed in a cheap-ass hostel.
See,
And I
that's the
made
one thing I
friends.
can't do.
Neither
Hostel.
can I at
Can't
this
do
point.
hostel.
Neither can I at this point. But this was like a couple of years ago, so it was fine. But if you're young, fun, and adventurous, you should just, if just do a hostel. Who cares? You're gonna make way more experiences. You might look back and be like, oh, I'm never doing hostels again, which is fine, but at least you did it and you were there and you experienced something, you saw something new, and you pushed yourself out of your comfort zone.
Dope. Maria Berlin, we're gonna take a quick break
Let's
because
do it.
we've been talking for a long time. My neck is fucking killing
You have
me.
no idea. I thought I wouldn't be able to talk, and then I was on my way here, and I was like, you know what, Maria, you can talk for days.
I knew you could talk. That's why. I remember. It's funny the way this came up
crazy.
because me and Maria were literally like we had like a 2-minute conversation about Fashion Week and events, and I was like, yeah, like you could talk. You know what I mean? That's why I immediately invited you. I knew it would be a dope conversation. It is a dope conversation. You know what I'm saying? What are we on right now? So we're on an hour and 8 minutes. We're gonna take a little break. I'm gonna play some music. You know what I mean? It's really, you can go stretch your legs. You can go, you know what I mean, have a tea, have a smoke. You know what I mean? Have a little meditate outside if you want. But I'm gonna play music for the next maybe 5-10, and then we can get back into some topics.
Let's do it. Oh, great.
Oh, that was dope.
Yeah, it's coming natural, so that's good.
For real. But you know what it is? A real talk here. When I first met you, yeah, the reason why I fucked with you because I felt like I was giving you like quite a hard time, and you didn't really respond to it. So I was like, okay,
yeah,
so
you see, you
like,
just.
She's cool at least. Like, not necessarily like a hard time. Like it was just because I felt like you was a bit cheeky. So I was like, okay. Whenever people get cheeky, I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see who's the cheekiest.
Same.
You know what I mean?
Oh, this is great because I can do a toilet break.
Second?
I said this is great because I can do a toilet break.
For real.
Would you like some water?
Sagt der før, jeg er ikke bange for at sige det igen. Jeg har været blå en gang, hvorfor skulle jeg være bange for at blive det igen? Du behøver ikke at være der for mig altid, bare sig du min ven. Jeg ved, jeg har været langt ude, men er det for sent at komme hjem nu? Nej, okay, mixer en juice op, fikser min flus op. Selvom tanken sidder fast som en sugekop, siger jeg altid, jeg er cool nok. Du har været der siden dag 1, der var jeg der også det sædvanlige. Havde et hoved fuld af drømme, ingen penge på mit kort, ingen penge på min lomme, ingen plan B. Jeg har en drøm, der vender tilbage. Drøm, der må skubbe en ved mig en dag. Jeg har brug for at få ting, bare en pose penge og en pige, der er god i seng. Ja, det er min plan. Hus med en lille altan, flus til hele min klan. Alt jeg har brug for at sige til min kvinde, min dame. Rolig, alting er betalt. At sige sandheden kan være vanskeligt. Det er dog ingenting jeg har lært. Men at sige sandheden til dit ansigt, føler jeg stadig er svært. Det er det blod, ikke plastik, men det ved du godt det er. Ting jeg har i mit hoved, måske det er derfor jeg er så blå. Jeg stadig havde pus i mit blod. Mørket trykker ind mod roden, hører vinden suser derude. Tror jeg har det som stenene, bølgerne bruser imod. Jeg kunne godt bruge dit råd. Hør her ven, lad mig lige tage med dig. Du er min blod, du er min dag etter. Er der ingenting du har brug for, ikke kun kroner. Alting tro mig, bror, jeg er lige bag ved dig. Din dag minder mig om dengang jeg tog kopi.
On my whole ass, got my last name. Pop a nigga like a damn tag. Shopping on their ass, I just bought a new old Jag. Yeah, it's so fast, smoking flocker, you a jackass. All I smoke is that, don't you ask me where the pole at, where your clothes at. Now you talking about my niggas, damn, but y'all tripping too, is it true? Damn my nigga, what the hell got into you? Project baby, y'all was skipping in the hallway, I was skipping to school. All my P's and Q's on them chiggers, call me Chickaboo. Bleeding concrete, bet you niggas won't come cross the street. Pardon me, I don't talk to you, so don't is what I play for. Call it lottery. Goddamn, you's a clown to me. You's a clown to me. You smoke a black amount with me. In the car with me. Funny guy, don't you even joke around with me. How could it be? Get from round the G, you ground, get from me. I'm a freak, bad junkie. You a junkie, you getting skin, I'm getting junkie. I'm getting money. Want some food, boy, you hungry. I want no honey.
Yeah.
Honey.
No. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Ever told on a nigga?
No.
Ever squeezed a trigger?
Yeah.
Ever set a nigga up?
No.
Ever helped a brother out when he was down on his
Yeah.
luck? You a sap?
No.
You a boss player? You a Mac?
Yeah.
Let me hold a couple dollars.
No.
Y'all still be popping y'all collars?
Yeah.
Stock rims on the scrape.
No.
Paint wetter than a lake.
Yeah.
Poodle in my blood.
No.
Bitch, I'm a thug.
Yeah.
You a loser?
No.
Winner?
Yeah.
Starving?
No.
Dinner?
Yeah.
You still sell dope?
No.
Now you cleaner than a bar Dove soap?
Yeah.
Got a little Gouda?
No.
Got a thumper, got a Ruger?
Yeah.
You in love with the hoe?
No.
She bringing you the dough?
Yeah.
You gon' cry if she leave?
No.
You gon' fly overseas?
Yeah.
Everybody got choices.
I choose to get money, I'm stuck to this bread.
Everybody got choices.
These bitches is choosing, I'm all in their head.
Everybody got choices.
Keep it 1,000, I done liked it, I chows.
Everybody got choices.
These niggas be hating, I already know, but I never go broke.
No, no,
I'ma stay getting money,
yeah, yeah.
and I ain't gotta sell my soul.
No, no,
I'ma stay getting money,
yeah, yeah,
if you broke, you ain't like me.
no, no,
I'ma stay getting money,
yeah, yeah.
I give a fuck if you don't like me.
No, no,
I'ma stay getting money,
yeah, yeah.
Lazy,
No.
got dick that'll drive a hoe crazy.
Yeah. That team was peaking for a
Hater,
little while.
No.
wanna see a player get
I think
paper.
it was
Yeah.
peaking for a little while. What you
Taylor,
say? You had
no.
brain surgery?
Loyal to my soil, not a
What
faker.
happened?
Yeah.
Sleep,
No.
bust moves, hella active in the streets.
Yeah.
Scared of the dark,
No.
have money, have heart.
Yeah.
Nork,
No.
Long story.
shark,
Yeah.
gossip like a broad.
No.
Check a bitch like a slide.
Yeah.
Slipping,
No.
That's why I don't see people for a long time. I don't.
sober as a gopher.
No.
High than a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Okay, but
Star Wars,
No.
everyone's doing this shit that I
Yoda.
Yeah.
You know
Never
this
leave the
song?
house without my strap.
No, I
No.
don't.
Shoot a
This is
motherfucker
the
in his
song
nap.
from
Yeah.
that.
Never been a
from the
sucker all
Notebook.
pussy.
No.
Blowing cookie, never coughing like a
Song that they
rookie.
used to make.
Everybody got choices.
I choose to get money, I'm stuck to this bread.
Everybody got choices.
These bitches is choosing, I'm all in their head.
Everybody got choices.
Keep it 1,000, I done liked it, I chows.
Everybody got choices.
These niggas be hating, I already know, but I never go broke.
No, no, I'ma stay getting money. Yeah, yeah,
And I ain't gotta sell my soul.
no, no, I'ma stay getting money. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Broke, you ain't like me.
I'ma stay getting money. Yeah, yeah,
I give a
yeah.
fuck if you don't like me.
I'ma stay getting money. Yeah, yeah.
You know what it is? I don't know a lot about music. So when I started doing this, literally, I know what I like. And the thing, that's the thing I clocked is like, you literally kind of have to just play what you like. When I first started DJing, I was very thinking, what's everybody vibing with, but like realistically, it's like people who want to go there to see what you're vibing with. Hello? Yeah, I'm good. I'm also on the radio though.
Michael Jackson moonwalking like I'm on a pillow. 5 bitches round me, man, it's about to be a royal rumble. Hands up if you walk alone. Hands up if your head is dumb. Promise I'ma keep you calm.
That's cool.
I get thrown out my mind. Grab a cup, catch a ride. You look at me and you see big diamonds. I press the button on the coupe to set
Alright then, that's right. But listen, let me shout you back though, 'cause I'm literally mixing live now. Alright.
up and make it real for me. Rub that fucking nigga. There's something else to die for. Spend a day to get my mind blown. Dressing up and go to Nassau. 200 miles on the dash. Got about a pound up of gas. Switching lanes in the Grand Rapids. We're the one that kept it cool. Like a nigga till you niggas start acting. Shoot a nigga like film, man, I'm moving up. Go let him have it. I'm ballin' like a March Madness. All these cops shoot a nigga tragic. I'm the one that living lavish. Like I'm playing for the Mavericks. I don't want to fuck a bitch, man, to make it fuck her even though she had it. Dirty money in the club. 45 by my good. Young nigga in the cut. Take you out for some joints. Counter money, no rush. I'm on one way flushing. These fucking police can't touch me. These police can't touch me. These fucking niggas can't touch me. Fly the pressure with the VVS. I try to fall like it was shit. Try to fall like it was shit. And if it up and right now it's set. Fucking Google like she holiday. Bitch, I hate this dirty stuff. There's something else to die for. Spill a day to get my mind blown. Just it up and go to Nassau. 200 miles on the dash. Got about a pound up of gas. Switching lanes in the Grand Rapids.
That's how I do it. No one does it. It is, but it's not really like, basically that's the thing.
All these cops shooting nigga tragic. I'm the one that living lavish. Like I'm playing for the Mavericks. I don't want for the bitch, man, to make me fuck.
It's pretty sensitive. Let me know that.
We gon' wake up and start like some motherfucker. She gon' keep it so real with a nigga that I'ma come back and always gon' follow her. In the curve and the spread like a motherfucker. I was working the serving and I get hot till I'm higher than Mercury. Fuck if I teach you that resume.
To be fair, like obviously this place is here, so you want to get something to do.
Soon as they work at the city and move it. Once up in 90s and shoot us a movie. Once up in 90s and shoot us a movie. Take it to a side of club and just
This is how I grew up. Never used to be like this.
200 miles on the dash. Got about a pound up of gas. Switching lanes in the Grand Rapids. We're the one that kept it cool. Like a nigga till you niggas start acting. Shoot a nigga like film, man, I'm moving niggas. Don't let them have it.
That's why I love this area. This is not the only part, but this is one of the few parts of London where you got like
She wanna go viral. We fucking for hours. That pussy got power. That pussy got power. She wet in the shower. That pussy get loud. We say no power. We fucking no cow. Nope, the dick in the deep. She wanna get geek. She sniffing that flower. We geeking for hours. It plays a player. That peaky devour. To my brother, she ours. I'm coming, my baby. Fuck it, I'm crocking down back in the bed. You don't take breaks, you won't fuck on the daily. Had to start getting
like when they
make her wanna go crazy. I hit Mercedes inside the Mercedes. How would that P got you flopping in place? I'm giving that a D on the D boy, baby. Giving that a D on the D boy, baby. I'm in that gut like to sit up. I drop the dig out like a dealer. Yeah, I love a few racks, pay a rent up. She make that little pussy pop like a pimple. I'm parking right here in the center. I tell her pull up, she gon' mop out the dribble. That's why I'm good at her dish. And I'm live in love with you. She wanna go viral. We fucking for hours. That pussy got power. That pussy got power. She wet in the shower. That pussy get loud. We say no power. She fucking no cow. The dick in the deep. She wanna get geek. She sniffing that flower.
You do it all, like. You can't do it all, but you can do a lot.
That pinky devour. To my brother, she ours.
You can try it. Try it, at least.
I'm coming, my baby. Forget it, cracking out, breaking my baby. Show you a lick, now you working, my baby. You fuck on me and feel personal, baby. Trust me, it's coming full circle, my baby. Dashing in bands is virtual, baby. Seeing 3D off a perky, my baby. Seeing HD off the Tusi, my baby. 31 the shower. And pussy get loud. We say and I got a telephone. I got neon guns. Admit it, I move like amoeba. Yeah, I float in the room like I'm reefer. Yeah, alien, I'm not your kind of people. Yeah. Telepathic fan, watch how I reach. Boy, you ain't got emeralds greener. Nah, you ain't got Richard the Sleevey. No sir. And I got a rose that's in the grove that I ain't drove. Shit, I don't know the reason. 3 or 5. Underlay, revive. Me and J Bappin on G5.
It shows you what
drug we high. I am mother Grizzly Beehive. I got love for you haters. Ain't you tired of enslaving? Come with us, make some paper. Cause you should own what you label.
Yeah, you never stayed in Kahlua. I push it on my shooter. Flooding my chain and it goes shit. I don't want that girl, she moody. I'm basically saying I'm cooler. Get DR discounts from my cougar. Back in the 6th grade, I got them bad grades. I was in love with my tutor. See, musically loose, you trapping, man. Most of you rappers be actors, man. Go MIA when I find little Madison. Stay at the Ritz-Carlton, this not the Radisson. Just took a blue one, about to take the red pill. Purple thoughts in my brain, hope it don't spill. Stay with a nerd till like earth what you live. Fresh is like Carlton, I kill him with it. Big ass R, on my Smiths. Big ass R, on my whip. She won't shoes, so you won't trip. Say she kinda fine, and she got some hips. Mama said, let me see the witch. Boy, you know who like it, don't mix. Mix it up, boy, bad luck. Stick to my stomach.
Your money records, the army, the navy. They ran me 10,000, I threw it like Brady. The foreign is yellow like Tracy and Katie. I trusted my niggas, they never betray me. Met all these niggas, they sweeter than Sadie. When I started out, I just took what they gave me. Did all the favors, they never repay me. It worked in my favor, cause nobody said
Brand new whip, got no keys. Tailor my clothes, no starch, please. Soon as I nut, you can go leave. Got M's in the bank like yes, indeed. Cartier glasses, I won't even Pikachu. Yellow Ferrari like Pikachu. I got him waiting and watching what he gon' do. Tryna pee what I do, tryna steal my moves. 2,500 for a new pair of tennis shoes. The same price I can make them youngins come and finish you. Lawyer being charged, he'll jewelry like a voodoo. Real dope boy, 100,000 in the Vizu. President's attention, fly by, we don't see you. I been getting money, I ain't worried about what he do. I'm getting money like off from the 80s. Man, Dre about to drop, man, this shit gon' go crazy. They know I'm the truth, coming straight from the base. I'm straight as you squeeze, I'm cool from the place. I'm in the hundreds, it makes them go crazy.
I don't even know how much I really made. I forgot, it's a lie. Fuck that, never mind what I got. Nigga, don't watch that, cause I came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. No help, that's all me. All me for real. Came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. No help, that's all me. All me for real.
Money on my mind, you should think the same. J's on, pink and ring. Dogging these hoes, I need quarantine in the same league, but we don't ball the same. Oh, she want all the fame. I hear that shit all the time. Said she love me. I said, baby girl, fall in line. Okay, made $1 million off a dinner fork. Watch me switch it up. Walked in, ill nigga alert. Ill nigga alert. You need that work, I got that work. Got bitches in my condo. Just bought a shirt that cost a Mercedes Benz car. No, from the A to Toronto, we let the metal go off. And my dick so hard it make the metal detector go off. This that sauce, this that dressing. Cheap for cheap, nigga, God bless you. If having a bad bitch was a crime, I'd be arrested.
Got everything, I got everything. I cannot complain, I cannot. I don't even know how much I really made. I forgot, it's a lie. Fuck that, never mind what I got. Nigga, don't watch that, cause I came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. No help, that's all me. All me for real. Came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. No help, that's all me. All me for real. I touched down in 86. Knew I was a man by the age of 6. I even fucked a girl that used to babysit, but that was years later on some crazy shit. I heard your new shit. Nigga hated it. Damon Wayans told me don't play that shit. I get paid a lot, you get paid a bit. And my latest shit is like a greatest hits. Got that. Ain't no wishing over on this side. Y'all don't fuck with us, then we don't fuck with y'all. It's no different over on this side. Got that. Should I listen to everybody on myself? Cause myself just told myself, you the motherfucking man, you don't need no help. Cashing checks, and I'm bigging up my chest. Y'all keep talking about who next, but I'm about as big as it gets. I swear y'all just wasting y'all breath. I'm the light skin, keep sweating. I'ma make it last forever. It's not your time, cause I ain't done yet. Look, just understand that I'm on the road like Cottonelle. I was made for all of this shit. And I'm on the road, box office.
I was making room for the table dancers. Cause if we judging off your advance, and I just got paid like 8 advances. Got that. Got everything, I got everything. I cannot complain, I cannot. I don't even know how much I really made. I forgot, it's a lie. Fuck that, never mind what I got. Nigga, don't watch that, cause I came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. Won't help, that's all me. All me, for real. Came up, that's all me. Stay true, that's all me. Oh, shut the fuck up.
I just be watching my words. You say whatever the fuck. I think I take what I get. They say whatever the love. It's my every day. Now I can't find my way. Say 900 on to the next like I'm okay. Hey, this a baby, can you tell? Shit, no, I came with the hell. I done pull a baby in the spill. Came out new hair, new nails. She take my heart, then drop back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. Deleting pictures on the ground. You forgot who I am. From the front seat to the nosebleed. After acting like you don't know me. Now my new bitch, she a trophy. And she love me.
Go to my clips, I'm writing down
Hold me, get a hold me.
getting them hit. The real ones been
Hold me, couple of rollie. You said you interest. Said you found a better friend. But you said you swagged out. You leave.
Well,
It's like a
what do you want to talk about?
show.
Last, we've spoken about fashion, we've spoken about
Believe like it's nothing.
state of the industries. I don't know, anything fun, like, so it could be anything, ain't gonna be serious. Anything, yeah.
Can't complain about that.
Ooh,
Can't
already spoke about smuggling
How the fuck am I ever gonna go turn myself in? Gotta stack up on the circle. Bitches beat me, can't tell. Bitches beat me, can't tell. This shit little bitch, she on the once. Emergency, I'm trying to go to street. Money, go down the road to the streets. Survive Dior, this ain't no creek. My dog got a Dior, he back on the street. This bitch is in Rio, she bad, she can be. I had bitches around, that was best happened to me. I ran straight to the rest like they give me a knee. Good energy, I invested my queen. I can ride on this whole life, on this one street. My bitch,
Like anything, any fun thing, like what's something quirky that is? Botanics, she cool. Let's talk about botanics. Let's talk about
It's also nice. Sometimes you are into things. You don't have to be an expert. You just have to
So we are back in the cut.
back
The music was mad peak, and it's gonna be so peak to edit this episode, but you know what I'm saying, we move. So we're back in the cut, like, oh shit. We're back in the cut.
Hello.
You know what I mean? So like I said before, we're joined here by Maria Berlin, straight from Berlin via Paris, via Bolivia, Cuba, Thailand, Bali, where else? Uzbekistan,
Why not?
Turkey.
I'd love to go.
you get
to
me,
go to
Solomon
Turkey.
Islands, the Amazon, everywhere. She's been everywhere.
I
You know what I
definitely
mean?
need to go to Turkey. Can I hear myself? Can you hear me?
I can't, you know. But it's being picked up.
Okay,
It's definitely being
perfect.
picked up.
Okay.
So, you know what I mean? Last 30 minutes of the show, we're just going to keep it. Well, what's it fair? Like, it can go wherever it needs to go, you know what I mean? But we're going to kick off the next section with something fun. Like, this should be interesting. Botanics. I don't know a lot about botanics.
I do and I don't.
Okay.
So I had, which they also weren't very impressed about, but you do what you want. As I said earlier, I had a final project to do for my master's. And I love plants, and I love sewing and fabrics and photography. And I was like, how can I translate all of that into one. So I was like, let me extract dye from plant material
Nice.
and print images onto fabric using that. So I just went hard on experimenting with random botanics. So I did like onion peel.
Dope.
Apparently that's a thing. I didn't know. Because when I would ask, I would go to the markets in Paris, but towards the end of it, and be like, oh, can I have like all of this onion peel? They're like, oh, are you dyeing Easter eggs? I said, what do you mean dyeing Easter eggs? I said, oh yeah, we dye Easter eggs with them, which I had no idea.
Yeah.
So apparently it's a thing in France. But yeah, I
Well,
started.
like eggs, like boiled, like
Yeah,
hard-boiled
like
eggs.
you know the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Okay,
dye
okay.
the eggs with the onion peels because you have the red onion peel, you have the yellow, you have the white, etc.
I used to love the Easter egg hunt when I was a kid.
I still love them.
The thing I didn't like about the Easter egg hunt is that I would find all the eggs and then they would be distributed evenly. And I was like, why did I do all that?
Equality is not so fun
It's
sometimes.
not fun. It's not fun. Equity is not fun. You know what I mean? Equity is not that fun. Equality, I can get behind that.
You can
Like,
get
equity,
behind it. That's
I don't know, because I worked hard for those eggs.
The search was the search, huh? Yes, no, that's so funny. Yeah, no, Easter eggs. Which I think probably we should have more ways to dye them naturally.
I mean,
Now that I think
onion
of it.
peels.
Yeah, just
Pretty
things like that. Even like beetroot. I did loads of stuff with beetroot. I did stuff with coffee. I did stuff with anything I could find. I tried everything. I tried like branches, which didn't work out. But it's always good to try things. And then if they don't work out, at least you learned from that.
Shout out shawarma time. I don't know if it's shawarma time in Camberwell, or it might just be called shawarma. It might just be called that. Yeah, eat shawarma or some shit like that. But they do this beetroot and ginger juice,
Okay.
which is dope. Like it's proper dope.
Beetroot's supposed to be really good for you. I just don't like the flavor.
This one is different. I can't lie because
I'll
the
still
ginger
drink
kind
it.
of like I don't know if it's ginger or it's lemonade. I can't remember something like that, but it's nice anyway.
It's like a
But your
detox.
shit will be purple, and if you look in the toilet, you will be afraid.
Don't look in the toilet.
You will be afraid. You will be concerned.
That is concerning.
It
I
is-
think
it
that
was
would
hella
be
concerning.
concerning.
Hella concerning. But I had to remember that I just drank a beetroot juice.
Probably should drink more beetroot juice and carrot juice. Did you know that apparently if you eat 1 carrot a day or like 1 carrot a week or something, it works with like here's me not speaking English as my first language. It works with the naturalness of your body and basically makes you glow. It like adds color to your skin in like a healthy way. So it gives you like a healthy glow or something.
I
which
believe
is
that.
crazy.
I mean, I would believe that. I would
And
say
think
any
they
kind
should
of veg.
teach things like this.
That's an interesting point because there's so many things that so social media for me is like a double-edged sword because on one hand it's so kind of like toxic. In fact, let's talk about that. But I think it's like social media on one hand is so toxic that on the other hand it's like when you do kind of get good information, I'm very skeptical of it. You know what I mean? So there's so much kind of food and nutrition information that I see on Instagram that I'm like, well, is it like, can I really trust it? Is this just some random person putting this up?
Which is a shame
It is a
because
shame.
they should teach this at school.
Because when you think about it, it's just like normal. It's like normal shit that you should know, like how to like nourish yourself.
Absolutely.
You should know that.
What am I using today that I learned in school? In classes, right? Obviously the social skills, whatever, those I do use. What am I actually still actively using? Nothing? That's crazy.
I use physics. Like when I elbow drop the haters.
Yeah, I
use
actually
gravity
love
to-
physics. You know, when I use physics, you know, people that can open the bottle of like a beer or like a Fanta or whatever with a lighter or a spoon or whatever.
Yeah.
Whenever people can't do it, I try and explain it to them, being like, "Oh, it's physics. It's like the, you know, it's
Leverage.
physics."
Yeah.
And so in that case, I use physics. But then that's an interesting way to apply it, and I feel like if they had done more of that, we probably would have retained more. And
Yeah,
I
definitely
also
more
think,
practical.
Like, world knowledge should be taught more. Like botanics, for example. There's certain things, like if you have a headache, I don't know, let me say 80% of people will be like, oh, I need a pill or a paracetamol or whatever. Whereas there's so many natural remedies. You could probably put some spices and I don't know, some stuff into a pot, boil it, drink it, and your headache might go away much more fast, much more natural. Because at the end of the day, the painkiller, all it's doing is it's blocking your pain receptors. So you're still in pain, you just don't feel it. So it like alleviates it. But I'm sure there's a tribe somewhere out there that has all these natural remedies that you could use, but we have no idea about. And like you said, there's so much false information out there. So I feel like in schools, if I ever was to found a school or whatever, I would make sure people learn botanics, like which plants, what plant is which plant, what plant should you touch, what plant shouldn't you touch, what mushrooms can you eat if you go foraging in the forest, what berries can you eat, what berries can't you eat, what types of berries are there, etc., not just the stuff that's packaged up in plastic in the supermarket. And even the weather. When I went to Puerto Rico, I did the half of the year abroad there in Puerto Rico, and we used to go to El Yunque, which is the natural rainforest there. And my friends would look up at the sky and be able to tell me if it was going to rain or not. And I was like, how do you know this? And of course, because they grew up in that environment. And same applies to like the waves and everything, like the stream of the water. If the stream changes, if the temperature of the water changes, it means there's a storm coming, etc., etc. And these are all skills I would have loved to have had from young onwards, you know? So I think just things like that. Of course, given your environment, you're going to learn different things. But then I think those things should be taught everywhere. Because it's so much more, it gives so much more longevity than the random stuff you learn in school. Like all the maths formulas that we all don't remember except for E equals MC squared. I don't even know if that's right. I don't even care if that's right because I don't use it. So, you know, things like that. So I just feel like in schools they should definitely focus more on teaching things that are actually going to help us in today's society, like finances and taxes, how to pay your taxes, how to fill out this, how to do this, how to apply for a grant, how to get a scholarship, all of these things, you know? I think there's so much more that we could give to younger generations. For us, it's a bit too late. But
So how old are you?
19 plus 10.
You're 29?
I am.
Okay.
Scratching 30.
Yeah.
Scratching 30.
It's crazy because Maria, you can't see her, but she looks 16. You know what I mean?
I literally get told that my whole life. I have to carry my ID everywhere.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
have
surprised.
to carry my ID everywhere.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it's great because, you know, when you're, well, not anymore, but I used to do this. Absolutely used to do this. I would go to a restaurant with my parents and be like, yeah, I am under the age of. Give me that discount.
You know what I'm saying? You go to the Chinese buffet, you're like, yeah,
Amen.
I'm 10. But you see the
It
Chinese
has to pay
buffet.
off. It has to pay off.
Yo, you see Chinese buffet, yeah, they're the coldest motherfuckers in the world because they do it by height.
Oh,
They don't
I'm
even do
good.
it by age. They're
I'm
like,
good.
if you're this tall, you can eat. You know what I'm saying? You
Okay,
can eat
maybe
for
I'm
free.
not good. I'm not that short. I am very short, but I'm not kid short, unfortunately. But actually, my trainers are from the kids section, so it does pay off. And they were like half price of what everyone else
That's
pays.
very nice trainers.
So it's good.
Very
Yeah,
nice
I go
trainers.
to the kids boys section, and I get the largest size, which is I think the smallest size in the women's trainers or whatever. But it's literally like.
What size are you?
60
Like 3?
pounds or something? No, I'm a size 6.
6.
UK 6.
Okay.
So it's that's
don't
like
know why
a
I said
38,
size 3.
39. Everyone thinks that. I don't know.
Do you know what it is? My cousin is about the same height as you. She's size 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, that literally like size 2.
But that's great. Honestly, that's great because once again, go into the kids section, get like 3 pairs of shoes for the price of what other people would pay for one. It's great. It's great.
It's true.
I think it's fantastic, honestly. And even clothes, like all the, I mean, there's a lot of little people out here, let's say, but usually the M and the L will always go. There's always going to be an extra small. There's always going to be an XS or an S. So you're good. And we can wear oversized. We can wear the largest kid item. I used to borrow stuff from my sisters, and they have outgrown me now.
Hey, that's jokes. I said the largest kid item. That's jokes.
It's great. It's great. But that's what I used to do back in the day. I don't shop at H&M anymore. I try and absolutely not shop fast fashion. Oh my god, I have something to talk about. But back in the day, I used to go to H&M into the kids section, and they used to have some fun stuff. And it's fun, and it's cheaper, and it's my size, so it's great. But talking about fast fashion, because I would love to speak about this, because that flashed me, honestly, flashed me. So I don't use social media much at all, which we can talk about after. But I do know that Shein exists. SHEIN.
Shein, yeah.
Shein,
Yeah.
Shine, whatever it is. Anyway, so I know that it exists, and I had no idea what it was. I knew that I thought it was like Alibaba, which I've also never been on that side, but I kind of know about it. But I think on Alibaba they also sell like cables, right? And I don't think Shein does that. I think Shein just does
So Shein
clothing.
get their stuff from Alibaba.
Oh, but is it like just clothing though, or what is it?
It's like clothing, accessories.
Okay.
Yeah, fashion. Yeah, it's like a fashion
like
label.
Boom.
Yeah, essentially.
Cheap clothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I knew that Shein was a thing, but I thought people were smart enough not to shop it. I
Hey, listen,
really did.
I've shopped at Shein, so I don't know what that says about me, but I've definitely copped a couple bits from Shein.
What do they have?
And it was definitely lit.
Really?
Yeah. Have you ever seen me wear these like patchwork corduroy trousers?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
I got it
that's
from Shein.
okay. You
I
can
got
make
like
those
a-
yourself.
You could.
Probably the same
You
price.
could. I got them for £4.
You could probably make them yourself. Because it's
I
scraps.
doubt it.
Of course, it's scraps. You can go to a fashion designer and be like, "Do you have some scraps?"
That's true. I wasn't
That would be free.
I wasn't on that
I mean, I get it,
to be.
but it could never be me.
I feel you.
I mean, I definitely get it.
I feel you.
But
So what is it? Is it because it's fast fashion, or is it just because like the
well,
the
honestly,
garms ain't seen
again,
that
I
you feel-
don't
you feeling?
know. I don't know what Shein is. Obviously, now I have a bit more of an understanding. But what I did assume about it was that it was cheap, fast fashion, and that someone was stuffing their pockets.
So Shein will get stuff. So the reason why stuff is so cheap on Shein is because they get it from Alibaba. So I'm not sure if
Who owns Shein?
I have no idea.
Is it
I wouldn't
like
be surprised if
Americans
it
or
was.
is it China?
I honestly have no idea. I've not even looked into it.
So
That,
I
that
think
much.
the person sitting behind Shein was probably like, let me exploit these fashionistas. Let me just put out loads of random shit, and whatever gets bought, and everything else will just end up in landfills because the profit's there anyway.
Yeah, Shein is a bit fucked because you can literally get, like, you can literally get shit for like £3, £2, £1, like jeans, dress, like whole shit. You know what I mean? Like I said, those trousers cost me like £4, and that's including delivery. So there's so many. Literally, £4 like landed. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's like, and then I got a kimono as well. That was like £2.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So with I think I remember watching a documentary where they spoke about fast fashion, and Shein came up, and obviously before it was like Primark, H&M, like Bershka, that type of stuff. But they were like, nah, if you were to go through every pile, like 90. Well, maybe it wasn't that high, but it was a high proportion that they would say every pile will definitely have Shein in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some things won't even
I've
be
seen
open.
it at a vintage shop in Paris.
Yeah.
I'm like, this shit is not vintage. That was produced a week ago. But what flashed me was I was on a bus going from Marble Arch towards Tottenham Court Road. So basically, for anyone that doesn't know London, it's like Oxford Circus, that area, pretty central. And I was driving, and the bus stopped, and I look to my left, and I see Shein. They have a damn store.
Oh, really?
I was shook. I was
When was
like,
this?
many people are supporting this crap that you now have the funds to rent a damn store on Oxford Street. That's crazy. This was like a couple, like let's say it was a week ago. I've driven past it again. It's open. I'm shook. I'm so shocked, because do you know how many young clothing brands there are that are produced ethically that are never gonna have the money to rent that space? And we're supporting that. That is crazy to me.
That is
the
crazy.
way the cookie crumbles.
That is crazy. Of course. You know what I mean?
I was just shocked.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really shocked, because I mean that is how like things are. You know what I mean? Like people, like especially with cost of living, there's so many like people still want to look nice. You know what I mean? People still want to do nice things. People still want to be human. You know, exactly. That is a fair point.
Because bear in mind, we're so detached. I'm sure if like 50% of Shein customers went to one of their manufacturing factories, they would never buy that shit again.
I doubt it, man. I think they would still cop. Like I think it's like people who say like they'll see an animal get killed, they're still gonna eat meat. I'm still gonna eat meat. You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's
but
like,
then I think there's a difference, because like that's like associated with like hunting, and that's like how it was back in the day. Like people used to hunt for their things and then eat them, etc., etc. So I think there's a difference. But I think, for example, if we take like a random woman that's working in one of their factories, you're paying £4 for your trousers, which probably a cent of that is going to her, and it's not even like a livable wage. She's working 20 hours a day for like nothing.
I think for me it's interesting, and I do see that there is like very like there is exploitation that takes place. I think like
and
to an extent
it unknowingly, but we are.
That is true. I think like to an extent you like sometimes I look at it and I'm like, yeah, but there is some exploitation, and then there is kind of like what is a livable wage in it. I think it's very easy to kind of like sometimes I see it as hubris where it's like we'll take our life over here and we'll be like, yo, I could never do that, like type of shit. Like that can never be me.
Which is why.
So then we would project it onto like them, where they might just be like, look, I'm just trying to like earn a wage, eat, like feed my family, chill, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not on the materialism like you man over there. And then we take it upon ourselves to now like be fighting like some kind of crusade for them, but it's like, but they're not even on that, you know what I mean? So I think like when you're in those situations, it does a disservice for the whole thing, because where you have like true instances of exploitation, when you're kind of conflating that to the whole system, like it just opens it up for so many people to kind of be like, well, that's not true. Like, that's not the case, and that's not the case, and that's not the case. And as soon as people are kind of like skeptical about one thing, it tarnishes the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'm always wary about like kind of projecting my Western
Yes,
mentality
yeah.
onto like an Eastern context.
Yes.
In that sense, but true, like there is definitely exploitation, and I think it's an interesting point in terms of capitalism and kind of like how we reconcile that. I know it gets a bad rap, but obviously I studied economics, you know what I mean, and like kind of what we're seeing now is not a true capitalist economy. It's kind of more like nepotism and like crony capitalism, like stuff like that, where people who are at the top, like I agree, people who are at the top, they're obviously bringing their people up to the top, and that is the current system that we do live in. But in terms of like what you said about Shein, that's why for me, like I'm like, this is why competition is so important, and it actually is so important to kind of for people to understand like what capitalism is, and actually what it isn't as well.
Yeah.
And understanding that the only way to really kind of like counteract something in the market that you see as wrong is to do your thing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean, you have to be the other side of that. Exactly. Like that's literally all you can do. So all of this kind of stuff. The funny thing is that the more kind of laws people add to capitalism, because I believe that capitalism is like a natural force. Like if we didn't have a word for it, capitalism, us as human beings, we would have done it anyway. We would have like had a surplus. We would sell that surplus like XYZ. So it's important to understand that kind of where you sit within the machine, really.
Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing. Like anything in life, like it doesn't matter like man, woman, poor, broke, black, white, like trans, straight, cis, whatever. Like you just have to understand where you sit within the machine. That's first and foremost. You need to understand, okay, where am I now? And then you can ask yourself, where do I want to go? And then lastly, is how do we get there? You know what I mean? And then you can start moving towards that end goal. But I think when you sit around kind of like complaining and stuff, I'm not saying that you're complaining, because obviously you're out here doing your thing. You're out here doing your thing, but it was just an interesting point for me to say that this is why like I kind of have the mentality that I do, because I understand that if there were more people that were just doing more stuff, like Shein couldn't really exist. Not that I necessarily think that Shein existing is a bad thing, but it couldn't exist if there were more people. If there were more kind of like younger brands like trying to like push the envelope, there was more people just in general just doing stuff. It's not just you have to be a creative or you have to be a designer, you have to have studied this or studied that. It's like literally more people doing more shit. It's like even if it's not good, at least it's something to where I can look at it and be like, okay, I don't really fuck with that. So you know what? How can I make it better?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like maybe it might spark some inspiration, or maybe it's just the seed of an idea that someone has done, and then I can see it, and now I'm inspired to elevate it, and it just goes like that. So I would always push for more people to do more things. Systems are not gonna change. Like systems are just the way they are. Like and the irony of the situation is that we arrange ourselves into that system. That's the thing that people don't understand, is that we naturally arrange ourselves into that system. So there's no law or policy that anybody can implement that's gonna change human nature. You know what I'm saying? So I think people just need to understand themselves first, understand you're a human being first and foremost, right? And what that means for you moving forward. Yeah, like I said, where are you now? Where do you want to go? How do you get there? And just focus on that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that was like some wild philosophical rant, but
no, you're good.
But yeah, no, it was just because when you said Shein had the store, I was like, that is a bit crazy, because they've only really been around for like 2 years. That's the thing. Like they're like a brand new brand.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I literally saw them go from seeing shit on Alibaba to them having their own shit. Yeah. Like if you go on Shein right now and then you go on Alibaba, you'll see the same shit.
I've been on Alibaba once.
So I keep moving my neck, like my neck is so stiff.
I've been on Alibaba once because I was looking for something specific, and then it was just too much, and I was like, okay, I don't think this is for me. It was too much stuff, too much random like pictures.
So Alibaba's a
ads,
wholesaler.
Yeah, but then they like rip other people's pictures. Like there was this girl on the interwebs, as I like to call it, and she was like, this seller on Alibaba literally ripped my picture and then photoshopped it, and it was like a picture of
like
her
a
like
red-
neck, and she was wearing a necklace, and they like took off that necklace and they photoshopped their own necklaces onto it and stuff like that. So
Listen, it's a dog eat dog world out here. You know, like that's like it's
crazy.
You see what it is? Like, have you seen The Last Kingdom?
No.
So The Last Kingdom is it's a show on Netflix. It's about like Vikings.
Okay.
Like, so I think it's set in like 1066 or some shit like that. Like, so it's about like the Danes coming over to England. Like this is before England is even like consolidated as one, and you got like Wessex and Sussex and shit like that, like, and they've all got their own kingdoms, that type of shit.
Wow.
So watching that show, it just made me think that yo, we're so soft, like in the modern days.
Okay, I
like
need to watch it.
we couldn't live there. Like we couldn't handle that shit. Like these men are literally
survival of the fittest.
Yo, you see what it is, and that's what I'm saying. It's like people need to kind of like, even like the other day I was doing the bins and it was raining and there was a slug on the bag and I was like, I ain't touching that.
Oh, I'll touch it, put it on the grass, and move on with my life.
I feel you. You're definitely listen. Yo, Maria's tougher than me, man. Don't get it twisted. Like if we ever get into an altercation outside, like I'm hiding behind Maria. Man.
I'm ready.
I'm crouching
ready.
down
Let's
and
go.
hiding behind Maria. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I just think it's
will
like
always bring you to comfort.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
discomfort will make you grow.
Yeah, exactly. Especially mentally, like anything that you kind of. I usually use what makes me feel the least comfortable as my compass. Like if I feel a way about, if I ever feel a way about doing something, I'm usually like, okay, that's probably what I need to do.
No, that's so interesting. So basically, I moved to Paris 2.5 years ago now, and I'm becoming comfortable, and I feel like that's my time to leave. Like now that I'm getting not too comfortable, just comfortable, because how am I gonna grow in comfort? So I'm like looking at where I should move to next, just because I feel comfortable. And I think like I'm 29, well, I'm 19 plus 10, so I have time, and if not now, then when? And I think it's just important to push yourself as much as you can, because then you're gonna become your own person, and you'll have a solid foundation, like truly solid, which I think is very important, especially in this age of social media, saying like, oh, you need to look this way, and you need to have these clothes, and you need to be like showing off what you're doing and all of that stuff, which is a reason, or like probably the sole reason I don't use social media. I have social media. Well, I love Twitter, and I love Tumblr. And like, you know how you have the main 4 icons at the bottom of your thing? One of mine is definitely Tumblr. So I live on Tumblr.
Is Tumblr still a thing?
I don't care if it's still a thing. It's still a thing for me. I love it.
I mean, like, is it still, you can still be on there? Like,
you can still be on there. Yeah.
I thought they closed it down.
No, I don't think they ever will. It's like an OG. I feel like it's like Twitter, but better.
I never really understood Tumblr because it was like I think it's one of those things where funny story, well, not really a funny story, but like kind of generally there was I just always felt even from a young kid like kind of stifled a little bit. Like I always felt like I had not necessarily wild ideas, but like I always had like a natural curiosity about the world and wanting to learn new shit and stuff like that. And I felt like at every turn that was stifled, like to some extent, whether it be like a teacher telling me to like pipe down, or like my parents kind of saying rein it in, or like anybody. Like it was just like the world felt like it wasn't built for me, type of thing. So whenever I would come across something like so Tumblr, for example, where you can post text, you can post
You can post whatever
anything,
you want.
like
It's
literally anything you
great.
wanted. I almost didn't understand that because I was kind of like
Yes.
conditioned to be like, well, I mean,
You
it
can't
looks
just do anything.
it looks like you can do whatever you want, but my experience has shown me that
Yeah.
you usually can't do whatever you want in it, kind of thing.
Amen.
So I never really like, it never really took off for me. I think I started doing like a like at one point I was using it like it was Twitter. I was kind of like posting anonymous notes.
Because
on there.
everyone's anonymous on there.
Yeah,
Like everyone has a random username. You have no idea who you're following. You have no idea who's following you. You don't have a face to the person. So it's kind of great. You can literally do what you want. I think the reason I was so, or still am, so massively involved in Tumblr is because when I used to live in Cuba, our school, the internet wasn't legal at the time. So, but schools would have internet.
Oh shit! So you actually lived in Cuba?
Yeah.
That's so
Yeah,
interesting.
I did my high school there.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and then I did my A levels in England.
What's it like?
Great. It's like a bloody time machine. It's fabulous. It's literally great. People.
And
are
that is
so-
like true communism.
Wow.
What's it saying over there?
You know what they say about criticizing Cuba?
What's that?
Shouldn't do it.
Serious.
They're gonna come for you. So let
Okay.
me just say, it's great.
I'm not really criticizing the thing. I'm just like is that true?
Oh, it's definitely
yeah.
also a myth, but you know, I love the place. It was my home for many years. It definitely has its faults. Even the way like the everything, honestly, like. But
Would
at
you say
the
it's a
same
place that?
time-
Sorry to cut you, but
No,
just
go
real
for
quick.
it.
Would you say that it's a place that, like, let's say coming from the UK, would you struggle to live there?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm so glad I lived there when I
First.
lived there.
Okay.
Because I lived there basically during my formative years. And that was so important because we didn't need internet. We would call each other and like *66 is like you pay for the call because I don't have credit on my phone, or you *68 and then you pay for the call, and because you know things like that. We would always call each other on our house phone, be like, okay, should we meet there and there at this and this time, and you would just go and know that the person would come. You didn't have to be like, oh, I'm on my way. We weren't even able to do that, or we would, but a text was like super expensive at the time. So, you know, we weren't doing it. Calls were super expensive. So we would just call from one landline to the other. We knew all of our numbers off by heart. And so I really loved it, and it really formed me, and it really formed the fact that I didn't need internet and I don't need social media. And I think I'm a bit more connected to the real world. But the Tumblr thing was because we had limited internet. So you'd have like a certain amount of megabytes a day.
Okay.
And you're supposed to use that for school research, which obviously we didn't. But you know when you load a page on Tumblr, you can scroll for a long time and you don't have to reload the page. So it doesn't reuse the internet. So I think that's why we all used it.
Okay.
It was like feasible for the internet that we had.
Yeah.
And then moving to the UK, I moved to the UK when Snapchat was a thing. So I did use Snapchat. And then Instagram came and I did use it. But then at some point it just got overused. And also there's like people, like I could be a princess of Germany on Instagram. And you wouldn't know if I am a princess of Germany or not. You know, people can just like be whatever they want, which is great. But then there's also kind of the pressure to be someone, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I just like, I have Instagram, but you'll never catch me scrolling on it. I don't have any notifications. You know how when you look at your phone and it says like 1, 2, 3, whatever, or on your locked screen when you have the little notification like person blah 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 sent you a message. I don't have any of that. I have all of that deactivated. So the only time I see what's going on Instagram is when I enter it. But because I don't get those prompts, I don't feel the need to enter it. So it's like I'm super detached from it in a way.
That's a
which
blessing.
I like.
It's a blessing.
I love it. Like I'll see my friends, like I was out with a friend yesterday and we were inside a club, and he's scrolling on Instagram, and I looked at him. I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm scrolling through Instagram." I said, "So you're doing nothing?"
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And he looked at me and he was like, yeah, kind of. I'm like, yeah, you're like doing nothing. Like, I don't mind like what you said earlier, like if you're looking for certain information, like I'll look for certain information, but whenever I go into Instagram, it's never to scroll. I've never watched, I think I've posted 2 Instagram stories in the entirety of Instagram having stories, and it was both to promote a friend's launch. And that's it. You don't need to, why do I need to tell you that I'm at this event and that event, and that you're not here and I'm doing this and that and that and that. I understand, and probably I should use it a lot more, being a photographer and being like a visual creative, and I do understand that, but I'm so aware of the dangers of slipping into this reality that isn't actually reality, and that's like a curated situation of my life, just to be like, well, my life is great and this is what I'm doing and this is that and that and that and that, and watch me and watch me and watch me. It's crazy. I think it's crazy.
That is an interesting point. Like sometimes I do, obviously with my stories, like, I mean, to be fair, there is an aspect of me wanting to share certain things.
Yeah, which is
like
fair
sometimes
enough.
I do be like, is it like attention seeking? Is it like what is it that compels me to? You know, back in the day, I used to do like not necessarily like motivational stuff, but I definitely used to like talk a lot on different things. You know what I mean? So I was actually like trying to share some wisdom, some understanding. But sometimes it is kind of just like, yo, like fuck it. Sometimes it is a flex, like, you know what I mean? And I think the flex is addictive. Like, that's the thing. I'm not addicted to the flex. I'll say that. I'm not there yet. Like I do sometimes think I at least have like a corn meter, in a sense that if I go to post something, I'd be like, is it corny that I'm posting that I'm at the event just to say I'm at the event, like, you know what I mean, or I'm actually posting something that's interesting that I'm just genuinely experiencing.
I mean, the nature of Instagram is kind of showing. Like the last picture I posted was in March, and it was a picture, and now it's August, September even. Yeah, I posted last time in March, and it was a picture. I posted for my birthday, and it was a picture I took in January in Trinidad. And obviously that's also a little bit like, hey, it's my birthday, hey, I was in Trinidad, whatever. And that's what Instagram is for at the end of the day. I don't mind people using Instagram. I mind people abusing Instagram and Instagram abusing you. Because why if a notification comes up and we're in the middle of a conversation, you have to look at your phone? That's corny to me. Do you see what I mean? Post as much as you want, but know the time and place to like kind of pull out your phone and endless scroll. Like maybe like before you go to bed, if you're lying in bed and you're scrolling through Instagram for an hour, go for it. Go for it. But
I can't lie, that's the worst time to do.
But it is what it is. But it's so much better to do it then than if I'm sitting with you at a restaurant. There's 5 minutes of silence, and instead of just enjoying the silence or looking out the window and looking at what's around you, you then pull out your phone to scroll on it.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is true. I think it's such a. Is that my boy's little bro? I was gonna say, man, I'm put on some weight like he been eating. You know what I'm saying? But
well, winter is coming.
For real, man. I'm just gonna keep it husky. But I mean, I mean, I guess that just kind of speaks to, we're gone way over. But I guess that kind of just speaks to, we're going way over, but I guess we'll wrap it up in about 5 minutes. But I guess that kind of speaks to, obviously, like your upbringing in Cuba. Because the thing is a lot of people that I see talking about like communism in the UK, I'm like, yo, you guys don't know what it is that you're asking for because you've lived here your whole life. Like if the UK became Cuba even if it took like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years,
It would fall like fire.
you know what I mean? It's like you would not be able to live, like you're not conditioned for that type of environment. Like you're literally conditioned for an environment where you can know everything at all times, you can do whatever you want at all times
without being watched.
You know what I mean? You can contact anybody you want at any given moment in time. You can access any piece of information you want at your fingertips. You know what I mean? That's what you're built for. Like you're not built for like isolation or let's say like a lack of transparency or like you're not built for that kind of stuff. And I think it's just so interesting that like I always say to people that we're so comfortable that we're bored. It's like we have to find something because people don't understand that it's
we
interesting.
Live a privileged life.
But like
because
so
of where we were born.
privileged that, but almost too privileged to the extent that like I think human beings that we need struggle in order to kind of grow and like we need to do work. Well, I think work is a normal thing that everybody needs to do. And we live in such a like coddled society that like simple things like even having to walk to the shop, you don't even have to do no more.
Oh.
Walk downstairs to the kitchen, you don't even have to do no more.
You guys take Ubers like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah,
My
but we wouldn't do
friends,
that.
after a night out, being in London, even in Paris, my friends are like, "Oh, I'm gonna get an Uber." I'm like, "Babes, you know there's a bus? You know there's night tube? That's crazy."
It's crazy.
Like I'll take an Uber or a cab or a Bolt or whatever if I'm like not stranded, but like on the odd occasion, like really on the odd occasion. I think I've taken 3 Uber, Bolt, whatever it's called, in the whole year up until now. So it's September now. And there's so many people around me. For them, it's like so casual and normal. And in my head, I'm like, all the money you're spending on Ubers, you could go to damn Thailand, you could go to Brunei, you could go to Bali, you could go to, that would probably pay a month's worth of rent for a villa and your food and your transportation for you to live your best life wherever, right? And
So
you
would
have
you just
to take
up and go to Bali?
Yeah.
Like on
Yeah.
a whim.
If you told me, oh, there's an opportunity for you to move to Japan tomorrow, I would pack my bags. I'd be like, I'm out of here. Because you can always come back.
True.
Just go. You
true.
can always come back.
True.
But at least you said you went.
True. That is true. Like I definitely.
Seize the day.
I definitely want to take. I'm gonna have to wrap this up because I don't want them to. I think it's a hard cut at 2 hours. So I don't want them to cut off the thing when they upload it. You know what I mean? But it's definitely been like an amazing conversation. I've enjoyed it.
It has.
thoroughly.
So we were going with the flow.
You know what I mean? And that's what we do over here, man. Tracks and chats. You know what I mean? Sometimes I play some tracks. Sometimes we have some chats.
And sometimes you do both.
It was dope, man. But nah, definitely like learned a lot more about you. You know what I mean? Like you're
It's
way
been a
more
pleasure.
interesting than I had already thought.
It's been a
You know what I'm
pleasure.
saying? I actually look forward to having you back on the show.
Oh, with pleasure.
You know what I mean? And coming back, we can chop it up. But and yeah, like I guess like what I took from this is be more brave, innit? You know what I mean? Have audacity, have some more audacity. Just go. Just pack your bags and go. You can always come back. You know what I mean? That's the bar of the day. I might actually put that on a t-shirt. I'll be real.
You should.
And I will.
You should.
And I will cut you in.
Thank you.
On the profit.
Thank you.
You know what I'm saying? Guys, that was Tracks and Chats. I'm sure this is episode
Berlin.
Who knows? Yeah, episode Berlin. Fuck it. That's what it's gonna be called. This is episode Berlin with Maria Berlin, straight out of Berlin via Thailand.
Sir.
You know what I mean? And I listen. I don't even know if I've got time for this last song, but I guess I'm
Let's
gonna.
risk it. Let's risk
you know
it.
what
You
I mean?
don't try, you don't get.
For real.
Let's go. Hey, this is a good one.
Shit.
This is a good one.
What, Money and Powder?
This is a good one.
Money and Powder or the track?
The track.
Oh, you like it, yeah?
Oh, it's Rick Ross. Of course I like it.
I bought a mansion in Bahamas with the all red walls, snatching lobster out the water, every butter from my dogs. All my bitches got ass, if they don't, we go and get it. 6-wheel G-Wagon, had them wrap it with the ribbon. She could take a selfie in it for the head the bird giving. Took me down for questioning, ain't said a word in it. First 48, I could've had a roll in it. Chopper make them say, pussy boy,
that was dope.
limit. I done made a bitch smart. Hashtag me a X. If a pussy be the best,
So
we
who
let
said
them
you
know
met
that's
Freddie-
the
Freddie
attack.
what?
Tattoos on my body from my head down to my legs. Cash rules everybody till they make it to the feds. 100 keys of powder, 100
guy that
keys
had
of
the,
powder.
like,
All my niggas pray for is 100 keys of powder. 100 keys of powder.
Yeah, literally after this, I made our announcement.
I met him actually in Berlin many years ago.
Oh, is it? He was getting kicked out of that Venice.
Which one? Adidas?
Yeah, it's just trash.
Exactly.
It was trash, isn't it?
Exactly.
Right, let me
Kicked out
see.
for what?
Because he was in the VIP, like bare people was in the VIP that weren't meant to
There
be there.
people
Yeah.
was in the VIP.
I
I
was
had a
like-
VIP bracelet.
Did you? I didn't even have it.
This shit can have it.
I didn't even have it. Like,
Shit's lame.
went up there, but apparently they were
Also, who
moving.
cares? Did you see the
Yeah,
people in
yeah,
the
for real.
VIP?
Yeah, it wasn't even
I
like
knew I
crazy.
could go up there. I didn't even want to. I was like, no, thank you. Do you want us to unplug?
You know what it is? I wanted to go up there because I had already said that I was gonna go up there, so I felt like by not going